Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I am Franklin, a finance professional and Excel enthusiast. Today, we are diving into one of the most powerful tools in Excel, commonly known as if function. Whether you are a student, a business owner, or a professional managing data, learning if analysis will help you make smarter and faster decisions in Excel. So stick around and follow along as we explore the real world examples.
So in this session, I'm going to show you different scenarios of using the if analysis. One of the scenario is the sales target analysis. And the second one will be looking at the grading system. This is suitable for schools. So let's start with the sales target analysis. So here we are looking at this business called Ikaita Enterprises. And we are going to do an analysis of the target sales. So before we do that, we first of all need to know how much was the sales and what was the target set for these sales. And therefore, later on, we'll identify whether this target was met or this target was not met. So to start off, we will do this practically one by one so that you can be able to understand from one step to another. So we'll start it by keying in our sales. So our sales for the first item here, or the first sales, was 12,000 US dollars. The second one was 8,000. The third was 15,000. The fourth was 9,500. And we have the next one, 11,000. We have 13,000. We have 7,000. We have 9,000 US dollars. We also have 16,000 US dollars. And lastly, we have 10,000. So this was the actual sales made by this shop or by this company for a particular month. But now we have a target. All these sales were pegged to a target. So if the salesperson met the target, then that target is compared to what they actually sold. And so here we have a target of 10,000 US dollars each person. We are assuming all these are 10 salespersons, and the target was uniform. So the target was set uniform for both of them. So other than normally or in a manual way, one will want to identify the target by either saying the actual sales minus the target, then you get this. But now, when we are using if analysis, we put in or we automate a scenario that will help us to understand whether the target was met or the target was not met. So this is where now we come in and key in our formula or key in our function to help us identify whether the target sales were met. So since we are using the if analysis, we start by the equal sign to make the cell live, and then we invoke the if function. So the if function appears, but now we have two scenarios here. The scenarios are, if the sales target was met, then we are going to key in a yes. And if the target was not met, then it's definitely a no. So here we are comparing the sales and the target sales. So the actual sales are in column A, and the target sales in column B, in column A and column B on our screen. So we start by saying if A is greater than, if A is greater than or equal to B2, these are not B2, B4. If A4 is greater than or equal to B4, then we are going to give it a yes. We are going to give it a yes, right? We are going to give that a yes. And if A4 is not equal or greater than B4, then we are going to give it a no. We are going to give it a no, like that. We give it a no like that, and then we close our bracket. So let's see what comes out. Yes, it has given us a yes. It shows that the cells were more than the target cells, and therefore this salesperson actually met the target. So we give it a yes. Since we have a formula here, will not repeat the same. Whatever we've keyed in the first cell, we are going to run it down so that we see from each and every whether each and every target or each and every salesperson met their target. So we are going to do like this. We run this down here, up to here, and then we automatically get our responses. So you can see this one. The actual sale was 9,500 and the target was 10. So definitely this person did not meet the target. So in a simple term, that's how we use if analysis to analyze the sales target or the target given so that we can understand how different or this scenario is met. So we are going to look at the second scenario, and here we assume this is a school. It's called Ekaita Academy, and this school we are going to analyze the A-level mathematics results for 2025. So as usual, I like doing this practical with you so that you can follow from scratch. I don't just bring in data and start showing you things on the screen without showing you the originality or where it came from. So here we start by the name. The first person here is called Princess. And Princess scored 95 marks. Scored 95 marks. The second person here is called John, and John scored 88 marks. The second person is Mercy. Mercy scored 76 marks. Remember, this is a school setting. The second person is Peter. Practically, we are doing this practically. Peter scored 65 marks. The second person is Jane, and Jane scored 82 marks. The second person is Uche, and he scored 91 marks. The next person is Karimi, and Karimi scored 59 marks. 59 marks. The next person is called Nafula, who scored 70 marks. We're in school. I'm assuming you're a mathematics teacher and you're keying in these student marks one by one so that you can analyze their grades. Second person is Christopher, who scored 84 marks. And the last person here is Pascaline. This student scored 78 marks. So we are done with this. Remember, usually in a school setting, we'll have a grading system. we'll have maybe a grading system, uh, a grading system where whereby maybe you are told anything above 90 is an A. Anything above 90 is an A. Let's put it like this. Anything above 80, 80% is a B. And any score above 70% is a C. And any score below 70%, or we can say 10% and above. Assume 10% and above, this person gets a D. So this is an example of a grading system. This is an example of a grading system. We assume that's how it looks like. So in a manual way, your teacher will come and say, this one scored 95%, therefore his A is above 90, we give him, or we give her an A. And manually come, this one is 65%. So 65% falls between 10 and above. We give them a D. We give him a D. This one scored 84%. 84% is above, is 80 and above. We give him a B manually. And this is a very tedious exercise, and therefore it will consume more of your time as a teacher or as a tutor or as a school administrator. And therefore, the best way to get the grading of these students is to use the if analysis. So we are going to apply the if analysis in this grading system to see how these students performed as far as their grading is concerned. So other than putting the marks or the grading manually, we come and start our equal, we input our function, the if function, and we open it up and say, if B4 is greater than or equal to 90%, then that will automatically be an A. That will be an A. This is how we put it. And then we also say if the same B4 is greater than or equal to 80%, then that person will be given a grade B. We do that. And then also say, if B4 is greater than or equal, if B4 is greater than or equal to 70%, then that person will get a C. Will get a C grade. Will get a C grade. And if otherwise, if anything else not in our function, then we are going to give that person a D. We are going to give that person a D because he or she has not scored anything within our function. And so we close that to effect that. So in a simple way, that's how we've captured our formula. You can see our formula in the formula bar. That's how it looks like. That's how we've captured it. And in truly, the first person princess scored 95%, and 95% is an A. So how do we get for the rest? So we just come here and pull this function down to the end, and there we are. We have our grading system actualized. So this is how simple you as a teacher or you as an administrator, you can use the if function to run the school or to run a class grading, so that you can, other than repeating, or it's a tedious exercise to repeat. And sometimes where you have a huge number of students, like if you have like more than 100 students, then you'll not be able to do this from one student to another, because you'll waste a lot of time keying in all this. Once you have the marks, automate your grading system so that it can automatically uh, pick the marks and grade it without any problem. So we've looked at how, as a business person, you can use the sales target analysis. You can use if analysis to analyze your sales, whether, especially those people who use commission, sales agents, to identify if you want to pay a commission. You want to use a target to see whether the salesperson or the sales agent met the target for them to be for them to be paid the commission. So using if analysis will help you to analyze, especially, remember here we are just using a very small data set, but when you have quite a huge number of employees or a number of sales agents, then you really want to automate your system so that it can help you to quickly analyze who deserves a commission and who doesn't deserve a commission. And on the grading system, we've looked at how you can quickly put the grades aside on the scores of the students, how they have scored, and therefore the grading will help you. And also where you have a class that is very big with more than 100 students or more, or any number of students, but provided is something that will help you save your time. So if analysis here will come in handy to help you do that work. So simply, if analysis will allow you to make quick decisions as far as using Excel formula is concerned. It's not just this one alone. There are different scenarios, different situations where you can use if analysis to understand and make a decision based on a given data set. Another thing is that the most common importance here is that it is used to return a value if a condition is true, and also it will return another value if that condition is false. So here we are looking at, we are in the grading system, we are looking at the scores. We're looking at which score, if a score is 90% and above, then that student gets a grade A. If it's not, then that student cannot be allowed to get a grade A. And even in the sales, we have seen it's given us two scenarios. It's either yes or no. So one is a positive result or a return, and another one is a negative return, a yes or a no. In the grading system, we have different grades, A, B, C, D, and therefore you can only get one provided you are in the range of the scores that are allowed by the school or the administration. So that is how, in a simple way, you can use the if analysis to analyze your data.
Thanks for watching. I hope this class on if analysis gave you the clarity and confidence to apply it in your work or studies. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share to someone who may benefit too. If you have a question or a comment, please drop it below and I will be happy to respond to it. Until next time, stay sharp, stay analytical, and keep mastering Excel.